Yes, can we wear a microphone, please?
We're micing up.
I think this is mine.
Microphones are on now.
Alright. I'm doing the best I can. Alright, you guys ready? So I've been, talking with Alex and going through this, so we do have some recommendations on where to trim the fat, so to speak. Oh, I'm so sorry, I was tinkering. Hold on, we're gonna, actually gonna pray for us. Councilman Conlon is gonna lead us in prayer.
Dear Lord, again, thank you for letting us gather here today, and I pray that we are all happy and healthy and get home safely tonight and be with our families. Let us do the business as you see fit tonight. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Councilman Fowler.
Thank you.
So we just wanna, give a couple announcements before we get started. Remember, this is a work session. This is not a council meeting, but we are gonna extend the same courtesy as we did last week, so there is a sign-in sheet. So if there's anybody who would, like to have a question read out or to make some comments on a question, whether it may be something that's going on tonight or not. I know this is the budget work session, so, there may be some questions about what we have going on, and, we will be happy to answer them at the end of the, work session. So just remember, just sign in, you have to put your name, address, phone number, write down your question, and we'll, take some time and answer all those questions at the end of the meeting. Is there anything else, guys? I missed?
We'll address them. We're not answering.
Huh?
We'll address them when we're not answering.
Ashley said we'll address them, we may not have answers, and that's true. Alright, so we ready to get started? Okay, so we left off, everybody should have their updated numbers in front of them. And again, what I was saying, I've been talking with Alex, since the last work session, so we do have some recommendations on where we can find some money to try to help, get this completed tonight and have a balanced budget by the end of this work session. And this isn't something that, you know, we have to do, but these are some suggestions. So Alex, you wanna go ahead and, kick us off and get us started?
Yes, ma'am. So everybody in the council was handed an Excel spreadsheet. We have two options, option A and option B. Option A, we cut the city departments. By cutting the city departments, we also cut payroll. With payroll, let me explain what we cut after talking with Ms. Nix. If anyone needs a handout, let me know as we go.
If you have them, just,
We'll
if you're
take
talking
one
about us,
and
yeah,
pass.
just go ahead, we'll pass one down.
Just give the actual pass.
I'm gonna share Ashton's table.
Thank- Laura, you'll pass one through here.
Laura, can you have one from there? I'm just waiting for it to go. Okay, so the handout you have in front of you is the proposed, like Ms. Nix said, potential cuts to payroll. We are requesting to cut $110,000, $631.55.
And you're just making an assumption that not all of them filled anyway, so the cut is.
That's correct. I was gonna explain how we came up with the number.
Yeah, cause I know it sounded a little scary when she
Right.
said.
Yeah, my heart started racing a
Yeah,
little.
we're just waiting on her to explain,
Right.
it's gonna make sense.
So, several of the positions have been vacant for, several months, if not longer. So after talking with the mayor, and some of the departments and Ms. Nix, the recommendation is to cut every vacancy right now for the next 6 weeks Today, we just started advertising for some of the positions, but not all the positions at this time that I'm aware of. For instance, the accounting manager's been vacant since last July. Normally, what we do is we budget 110%, we budget 100% of that vacancy. Then at the end, we use the unused salaries and then we put it in a CD or a bank account. However, we're gonna reverse that and use it up front to minimize the cuts on the city departments. Because we already know for 6 weeks, we're probably
We'll be able to fill
gonna have
those vacancies
vacancies.
anyway.
So, the accounting manager is the exception. We are asking to cut fringe only and not their salary. Because we still do not at this time have an accounting manager, at the next council meeting, that will be addressed.
So is that when we're gonna plan to advertise it?
No, the accounting manager was advertised today.
Okay.
But we're asking just to, take the fringe from FY '25 and not salary.
And the reason, being, and I'll just share, I do think we are gonna, I think we need to keep, Melody on for a little longer, just.
Until
yeah.
she hires someone?
Yeah.
Sure.
Because of the asset she's been to the city, and just right now, we kind of need her.
Right.
We recently have been informed that the magistrate now has an opening, the individual did accept and has no longer accepted, so that's a vacancy. So that is one we're asking to cut for the next 6 weeks while we go through the interview process. I'm gonna skip the police department and go back to them in a moment, if that's okay. Firefighter has 2 vacancies, light equipment operator has 2, and as you're aware, you recently approved the mechanic for the shop. Again, all these are either in the process or progress of being advertised.
So let me ask you, Alex, so this isn't taking it away for the entire year though, correct?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
The departments I just stated was only for 6 weeks, and that's enough to try and get the positions filled. But with advertising, with interviews, with testing, and then department interviews, there's no way reasonably that we're gonna expect to hire any of these people.
So when would we, if we were to consider this, when would we be able to put somebody in place and the money would be there to put them in place?
So for the departments I've read, with the exception of the police department, November 15th. So 6 weeks would be November 15th,
So we're, perfect.
which is on the bottom of the spreadsheet.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
So are there any questions with any department except the police department?
And remember, guys, these are just some recommendations, trying to, figure out how to get the.
So, and we may have already answered this, so say Nate has he's got 2 vacancies, right?
That's correct.
Okay, and he's got a guy that walks up and says, hey chief, I wanna be a firefighter, and it's not November yet.
Correct.
How are we going to handle that?
The position should still be advertised.
Okay.
Still fill out the application. They'll still go through the entire process. We just won't hire them till November 15th, sir.
Well, that gives them a chance to find another job.
It would have taken 6 weeks anyway. If
That
you
is
look at
true.
The accounting manager,
That's
like
true.
I said, it's been 15 months.
Right,
Magistrate's been empty and vacant for a long time now.
right.
So,
Okay, I'm with you, thanks.
okay, so I know the concern is gonna be the police department. With that said, I did sit down with Chief Muse, and explain to him what the proposal is going to be. At this time, he has 6 vacancies. No, 7 vacancies at the end of this month. 7. Yep, no, maybe 7, after, further review.
Yeah, I thought he-
So, with the 7 that we calculated in Springbrook, we talked to the chief. He has 2 current people that have applied. So we want to leave 2 positions alone in case he can hire them in October.
Because they've already applied.
Yes. So
Okay.
we don't want to mess up the police department, and I think we can all agree to that. So if you look at the bottom of the form, it says 5 people. We want to hold off for 6 weeks, which is 3 pay periods. But just like everybody else, we would commence hiring again on November 15th.
So you're still suggesting take the, salaries from those 5 until November?
I am.
Okay.
That's correct.
Because the process has not begun, it's gonna take more than 6 weeks.
Yes, sir. So Once November 15th comes, we would give him 2 positions, if you look at the bottom, and we would still hold the salaries for 3 people for 3 more pay periods, which is a total of 12 weeks, which would take him to December 31st of this fiscal year. Then beginning in January, we would give him another body back and still hold 2 people until April 1st or the end of March.
So it's kind of, yeah, so it's kind of like staggering the hiring process, which we're
Correct.
not likely to get all these people at one
Correct, and
time.
I did talk with the chief, and explained the rationale and the reasoning, and, it's been a very long time since they were 100% manned. Now, all we're doing is taking the unused salaries at the beginning now, and reallocating it versus keeping them at the end. Now, the con to that is, several years ago, the council signed a resolution that says any unused salaries left will put into account for medical. That's the con to this. However, throughout the year, we do spend the money. But doing this, there's not going to be any money for somebody to say, I need money.
It's kind of, so we're just doing it reverse this time.
Yes, ma'am, with the exception of the accounting manager. So that would free up, like I said, $110,000, sorry, $631.55.
So we would subtract this from the $572,667.50?
No, ma'am, we've already done it for you. That's part of option A. So yes, thank you, Mr. Baylor. So 572,000 is the net.
Okay.
Surplus, that's surplus.
Yes. So, in addition to the payroll, which was the first thing we
Hold on, what
looked.
did you say, Ashley, this is
It's
what?
surplus.
So this is positive?
Yes,
Yes.
and that includes the payroll cuts. Now, looking at, our last conclusion of the last meeting, we were asked to look at funding to get to a 0 balance. We were also asked to look at funding for Coosa Valley Medical, and IRF. And, another due out was uniforms for administrative personnel. Let me address the easiest one, which is uniforms for administrative personnel. We have worked with the police department, and they have offered to consider the council to have them make the badges for city administration personnel, at a cost of $200 is all they would need to purchase the supplies.
Do they make badges?
Yes,
Or-
ma'am, they do.
So what, just tell me for my, information only, what badges do they use when
They just make a badge for the police officers. Do either one of you have yours on you?
so like the little gold plated ones?
No, they'll produce one for you.
I'm sorry.
But we did talk to, one of the vendors that we were provided, and that cost is going to be a little less than $1,000. But like I said, they could provide a badge that looks like such for less than $200 for at least the 23 people that don't have any name tags or anything. Then we could also cut out any other, uniform expense. So.
Oh, and you put it on like a lanyard or something?
Yes, sir. You can put it in a lanyard, you can put a hole in it.
Okay.
And here's another one, so,
So they would have their face on them as well?
yes, ma'am, they would have their face, their name, their department, the
Perfect.
fact that they work in the city.
Maybe we should get everybody want to start using these and clock in.
So,
That's what we do at school, we clock in with our badges.
That's pretty cool.
I just not got them.
okay. So, the red, white, and
You got
blue
one
one,
too, Sam?
that's for the police officers, but the city employees would end up having something similar to this.
I think that's a good idea, and it's gonna be the cheaper way too, Larry.
Yes.
I'm all about it.
So,
Thank you for
we
that.
just wanted to show you and have an example, as to what we're talking about. But that would also save, you know, a little bit. We are including the animal control officer as well.
Sure.
In the lanyards, or he can have a clip-on badge, whichever they prefer. If somebody prefers to buy their own lanyard, by all means, they can do that. But we will buy in bulk of at least 50, because that's what, the police department has researched. So, So are there any questions as far as that?
I think that's a great idea.
So with that said, we have removed uniforms from all administrative departments.
I think everybody should just have the same thing. If we're gonna provide it, let's just make it a standard across the board. And everybody just have the same thing. That way it'll be easily, recognizable.
Correct.
And I can bring you a box of lanyards with clips.
Oh,
Like those-
along with my mice?
Yep, all your.
Okay, my keyboards?
Yep, and
Okay,
keyboards, yep.
just checking.
Yep.
Okay, so Ashton's gonna pass out another piece of paper. And what that paper is after talking with Ms. Nix and making the mayor aware, we are recommending additional trimming for the city departments.
Get the
We have
scissors.
listed in order by departments, the line item, the description, the amount we're going to propose to be deducted. The previous cut, which was the first cut we did on August 17th, and then the new proposed cut. So for instance, executive and legislative, they were previously cut 1.15%. We are now proposing a 2.98%. The paper in front of you are the additions. We did not review these with the departments because as you're aware, the council meeting went late on Monday, it is now Wednesday. There were a few departments that I was unaware, so I did call and speak to. And as a reminder, the city departments as a whole turned in $1 million.
So we over budgeted that.
So there was room to cut some more.
Yes, and I'm not saying there's still not room, but, I'm saying after looking in Springbrook and looking at what they spent last year, these would be the recommendations of not just myself.
And remember, too, guys, these are only recommendations, but also there are a couple of things that we're trying to consider that we really don't have the money for. So if let's just take a few minutes and look over this, and if we have any questions, let's go ahead and get them on the table now.
Ashton just asked a very good question. He wanted to know if this cut was also included in the $572,000 net, and the answer to that question, sir, was yes.
So on the
Okay,
first.
another piggyback off of that.
We can't hear you, sir.
He can't wear it. He's the exception.
Never mind, I see it's 372. I was thinking it was another 100.
So both of these, with the salaries and this, is a reflection of the first page of the total expenses versus revenue.
This is reasonable.
Right, so if you go to page 2, just like Ashton did, you'll notice the total decrease is going to be approximately $322,000. And that includes payroll and the overall cuts. It's actually $316,000.
I understand the department heads has not seen this yet.
Certain department heads did,
Well, they all need to see it.
and I'm not disputing that, sir, but I did not have time, unless they wanted to be here at 8:30 last night. I did have a question last night, and I did call the street superintendent because I had a question. The police department has seen this. You cut the planning department, but if you look at the overall numbers, they're, according to their budget, they're not that extensive.
And then all we did was go back and look at, what we budgeted last year versus what they spent.
But here's the thing, guys, it's real simple. These are logical cuts. We turned in $1 million.
I know it, but we still, since it was made, not in, yeah, but since it was made not in the meeting, and this is the first time the rest of us
Oh,
are seeing
yeah.
it, we still need to just go through it.
Sure.
And see if you guys, have any questions.
Okay, so
But,
like,
I'd be happy to read out the numbers so the departments can hear it, because they should know how much money's in their budget, and if they have an issue, they should be able to.
And also just keep in mind, we can't do everything without making these cuts.
That's right.
So if we decide to give somebody something, then it's gonna have to come from somewhere.
And if something urgent comes up, we can always revisit it in
Yeah.
a year and see how we're doing.
And also too, with these,
We can also do budget amendments within, as long as it comes to the council for approval.
and also too with, I see at the bottom though with,
Oh.
So So the rescue squad did get cut from what we originally discussed.
With all due respect, we're not on appropriations yet, ma'am.
Okay, I was looking over
We're
the
still
list.
on city departments.
Right, I just,
I'm
it's
on
on
the
this
second
list.
page.
Yeah, I'm on the second page, it's
Yep.
on it.
So we're still on the city departments. I just want to stick to one thing at a time, if that's okay with council, instead of jumping around.
I don't think we're jumping around, there was a valid question for the second page.
It's okay, we're all here, we'll get it figured out, so.
So for E&L, we're recommending that we cut an additional 11,500 to their budget. Legal fees, 79,000, and your large printouts that you have in front of you. We've highlighted all these changes for you, so you can see where they were and what we deducted. Nobody was cut twice on any line, not one person.
So you're saying the lines that we made cuts on in the previous budget, we didn't go back and cut those again, right?
No, ma'am, I did not.
So how can we know if, like, we're hurting the departments for these specific items if they don't even know what's on this list?
We went based on what we budgeted last year, based off of actual usage. Because remember, when we went line by line in the budget, some of the things that we budgeted for, we gave money for, they didn't even use. They didn't even use all of it, or they didn't even use any of it. And it's okay, and keep in mind, this is still only a recommendation.
And this is in line with the trend, so it's not taking away anything that wasn't spent in prior years.
And also too, it doesn't affect any of the salaries, because remember, we just gave the salary increase, so everybody's still gonna get paid what they're supposed to get paid, so it was made on other line items.
Councilman Fowler asked about accounting and finance. Property insurance for $50,000. That's correct, sir. The pool in the master recreational facility will not be built by September 30th. Therefore, we do not need to insure it until that facility is built. So that's why we cut that $50,000. Court, we looked at operating, expenses was $1,000. The police department,
And I said we took $80,000 out of the police department.
Yes,
Well,
that's
actually,
correct.
$88,850.
now, if you remember, right, if you remember when the police department discussed his budget, the city council took the flop cameras away and we added them to capital. So we're not cutting him 80,000, but after relooking at his budget, we did notify the chief and advised him, it's on the budget twice, we need to cut it. So the police
It's still
department
capital.
is misleading, and it is, within the top 5 actually on the capital request from the mayor.
Y'all remember that?
So that was misleading. The fire department, 23,000, their biggest, decrease would be travel and training.
Does this include, and this doesn't include any of their, training that they need to keep, their certifications that they have to keep up, is it out?
It should not, and the reason I
We
say
don't know,
that
they don't
is,
know.
we did a 5-year statistical analysis, which I have, if anyone on the council would like to look at it. In 2021, they were only going to $5,000 worth of training. Even last year, they only spent $17,000 in training.
Can I say that?
Yes, sir, you may.
Osgood, were you aware that your budget was cut?
He was not.
Yeah, she just said nobody was, so these
Yeah.
were some cuts
This
that,
tells
there
you
was no
the year.
time to bring
Mhm.
everybody in, that's why we're
That's what
discussing
he
it now.
spent.
Yeah, I just was,
Yeah.
So
But I mean,
last
it's a
year, he
recommendation,
spent
but just keep in
15,000.
mind,
Okay.
there are some other things that we want to do or we want to consider, and the money's gonna have to come from somewhere.
Absolutely.
And I would like to address the council, when we did these pay raises, several departments did state they would rather do pay raises and they would cut elsewhere. Well,
And we hadn't done without.
we gotta cut, because everybody's still doing it.
That's right.
The budget increased $2 million. And I'm not saying it's not needed, but if we want to fund everything on the list, we have to make cuts.
But I also get what Laura's saying too, we
You
wanna
want-
make
you
sure
need
that
that.
services
Okay.
aren't limited, you know,
Yeah.
with the cuts that we're making.
Lee?
But looking at these,
You
I'll
wanna-
look at it.
you understand how to read it?
I'm pretty sure I can.
I'm just making sure. That was his largest cut, anything else was $2,000 or $3,000. His uniforms, we cut the contingencies. Those are just that contingency. Animal shelter, we cut $150 for the animal control officer because we're gonna get them a badge from the police department.
Was-
Office, go ahead, ma'am.
No, I was
Office
just gonna ask
operating.
about some of these, I was just gonna make uniforms are only in the budgets for the people who actually get them, so we took out all uniforms, because I know we talked about some uniforms.
We took out all admin
Except
people.
police
Okay.
and fire.
We did not take out the fire department, yes, 3,000, but it was contingencies.
But everybody that has to have the uniform, police, fire, street, it's still a part of their budget.
That's correct. Yep. And the animal control officer, we took out the $150 for 3 shirts because he's going to have a lanyard, which he can wear when he's out in the public. The
Okay,
street,
one, building services,
I haven't gotten there yet. The
where are you?
I'm on the street department, you'll notice we cut $15,000. I did call the street superintendent last night, fairly late, and we discussed his budget. And he was okay with these cuts, he actually recommended them. These were things the council on the 17th agreed to increase, but to help the city, he's agreed to go back to where he was and manage.
I hear what you're saying. But when it comes to storm drainage, we know we've got a lot of old drains and we've got a lot of infrastructure plans that we've, got in place.
That's
If-
correct, sir, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but we just executed a $37 million bond, which includes drainage.
I'm well aware of that. I was here when we voted on it. But this $10,000, if we need to get that, we need to be able to find it. That shouldn't be an issue though, should it?
I think it's gonna be a part of that, a part of bond proceeds, because there's.
So y'all are saying y'all expect that bond proceed, that infrastructure plan to take care of all their infrastructure in the city at one
Prior
time?
to-
Hopefully for this year.
Okay.
And again,
For
these
this year.
cuts for the street department came directly from the street superintendent.
Okay.
So it's kinda like, we're
Well, if he-
allocating for it
That's
twice.
fine. I just don't want us to get in a bind when it comes to drainage.
And I agree with Nate on this, the drainage is a very big issue.
But if you think you can make it, Reed, I mean, who am I?
He's not gonna make it, it's a part of the bond stuff,
I
the
understand.
drainage.
What about the tree maintenance?
The tree maintenance, again, that came directly from the street superintendent. Reed, do you have anything to say?
The treatment,
Tree maintenance, we cut for $5,000 last night.
we just gonna have to start cutting more trees or
Good answer, Reed.
Very good answer.
We can always reallocate within his budget.
Okay.
The 2 departments that are always spot on every year are street and shop. We're not asking for any cuts made to the shop. The council increased his budget, and I did talk to him as well last night. I believe it was late last night, or maybe this morning. But we did speak, because I asked him to find me some money as well. The planning, I sat down with the mayor and the entire executive and legislative branch. And because that position doesn't have a person, we were able to cut legal expenses, which will be included in the mayor's legal budget. Office operating expenses between E&L and BSD. It's very minimal cost. Utilities, that will be consumed in E&L as well. There's no people, so we don't need furniture, and there's no people, so we don't need office equipment.
So-
At this time.
That was approved by the mayor. We're not asking for personnel for the planning department either for fiscal year '25. BSD, we took out the remaining $450 for uniforms, because again, the police department is going to have a name tag.
But what about, but when they go out, this is Mike, but when they go out, they need an actual shirt or something though, right?
They bought shirts
Ah.
this year in their budget.
So they do have, okay.
I just wanna make sure, cause I.
Mike, you usually wear your badge anyway, don't you?
I keep it in the truck, I
Yeah.
don't wear it at City Hall, I keep it in the truck.
Right, you need to go out and you just grab it and go, I got you.
Right. So his budget was only cut $1,850, travel and training $1,000 for new employee. Last year we spent the money on their new employee, so, $1,000, they'll still have $5. Building maintenance, we cut office operating expenses and grounds maintenance, and that is the, building maintenance person. So the total cuts for the city departments, $206,000, $903.75. So between the first cut and the second cut is only 2.54%. And that does not include payroll.
So to clarify the fire department, now this does not include their knockout gear.
No, sir, it does not. We did not cut their gear. We cut their uniforms. The only thing we cut was his $3,000, which was used for contingencies anyway.
You hear that, Nate?
So that is option one, which is the first page.
Okay?
That would give the city $572,667.50.
And that's the only thing that's included in option one.
Yes, it's just the city departments,
Okay.
okay? Now I would like to address, the appropriations. Which, yes, sir, is included in option two, not option one. Option two is the second page.
So option two includes the city departments and appropriations?
That's correct. And that will lead to a cut of, we'll give the city a net balance of $627,542.
My initial thought, and y'all may say what you want about it, but with option one, we're sitting at 572 in the plus. I feel we could leave the appropriations alone.
I agree.
Can I finish this though?
Sure, sorry.
Because it actually leads up to what the council wants to do.
Okay.
Being that you said that, none of these numbers include Earth or Coosa Valley Medical Center.
That's right.
So that's why we had to do the cuts, to provide funding if the city council wants to, without ending the year in a deficit. So for the appropriations, the recommendation is to cut them $54,875. The airport authority, we're asking to take an additional $10,000. We did their trees in half, the brush for them to cut it down, we're asking to drop it by another $10,000. The CDA, an additional 15. The Coosa Valley Rescue Squad, $23,000, and IDB, $6,875.
Okay, just so,
Go ahead.
since I'm the liaison with the CDA, that 15 comes off of the 65,
That is correct, and we'll get $50,000.
and then, so how does that affect? Are these also on the same timeline as the 6 weeks, is this the whole year?
This is the whole year, sir.
Can I,
Okay, so how does this affect them hiring part-time?
hold up, Ashley, before you
Before you ask that, I wanna say this so, to make sure that we're all clear. I know with the appropriations, you know, a lot of us don't feel that they're a priority or they're important. The thing that we have to keep in mind is that we appoint these people to serve on these boards to take care of the city stuff. This isn't their stuff. This is the city stuff. That's the city's airport, that's the city's CDA. If the Coosa Valley, Rescue Squad come into play, they're gonna work on behalf of the city and the IDB. So we have to make sure, you know, we're not putting faces on places, and just keep in mind that if we don't make sure these people are taken care of, or they can do their job, you know, without any stress, or they can do the job that we expect them to do, if these volunteers go away, then we're gonna have to do it.
Right.
That's gonna be our
And
responsibility.
to go off of that, I'm putting numbers on these, not faces, because of the amount of money that they bring in and the more potential they have with a part-time director.
And that's the reason I think we should leave these alone, because in being too, like even with the airport, that increase is a one-time increase. Next year, they're not gonna ask for that increase that they asked for. You know, with the CDA, it may be, but we don't know when they're gonna hire somebody. They may get somebody and then they may not come back, so we agreed to do that as a, put that allocation up over 12 months. So no matter which option we go with, just keep in mind, this is the city's stuff.
Yes.
This isn't their stuff, if that makes sense.
$54,000 in paying to these, just relatively small amounts of money is not big in the grand scheme, but it would hurt them.
But I'm not saying they're more important than the departments. I'm not
That's right.
saying that, of course not. I'm not saying that,
It's-
but they also play a part.
That's right. Is this the, all the appropriations that was allowed?
Yes, sir, those were the ones I was asked to look at.
Oh, sure.
The ones
Sure.
that we can trim, because keep in
Right.
mind, some of them are what they are.
That's
We can't
right.
touch
That's
some.
what I was getting to. Here's the thing, guys. You know, we've sat here for we've had 3 of these meetings, and it's not real hard. There's some things we wanna fund. There's some things we don't have the money to fund. I'm not on board with cutting our city departments again and us not cutting the appropriation, because I don't think that's real fair. Because in my mind, the appropriations work with our city departments. It all flows together. So I'm gonna say option B is gonna be best for the city, and that gives us a net of $627,000.
But if we do option B, this is the only thing, if we do option B, it's gonna, these are one-time, you know, like.
Look at it
the
as
airport.
percentages of their overall budget
Yes.
as well versus the departments.
Yeah, that's the thing too. So say like the airport, the project they're gonna do, that's a one-time thing.
Yeah.
The CDA, we do wanna put somebody in place to do the things that, you know, that needs to be done. And then we have to decide, so do we want the rescue squad back active or not? So we have to put some resources into these things in order for them to function the way the city expects them to function. But, and also too, with the departments, they are important, they really are. We also over budgeted $1 million last year. So
Yeah.
when we did these cuts, we went back to budgeted versus actual, what they actually spent. And then too, with the ones at the top, you know, with the ones with the salaries, I mean, these aren't going away for the entire year. So this is a part-time situation, you know, just to get us over the hump, and all will be well by, you know, November and then the first of the year.
I'm in favor of the option A.
And two, I have another suggestion. I think we may be able, Alex and I talked, we may be able to help the hospital out of capital. And we looked at the total amount that we have in capital, so we can do all of our, capital projects, pick something to help the hospital with, and still have enough money in there to roll over to next year. So,
So, I would like to, retract our discussion about capital after discussing it with the auditors. No, it's okay. That's why we have the $572,000. We have 2 options for Coosa Valley Medical. I didn't know what option the council wanted, so I just chose option 1. Although it is a capital expenditure, it is not a capital expenditure for the city of Sylacauga.
I wish Wayne was here, because he said that we could do it as a capital project and have some sort of agreement or something to say they provide services for the city, so we're doing this for you. I don't know the exact wording.
But you're
Yeah.
talking about the source of the funding is not capital because it's not mapped to a capital expense that is being,
For the city.
yeah.
According to the auditor, if we get audited and we take it out of the capital fund, that's a problem. So what he recommended, because we've been talking to him about all this, is to take it out of A, the general fund, which you have $572,000 for, or B, do a transfer from the capital fund to the general
And then
fund,
fund it.
And still take it out.
Yeah.
and still take it out of the general fund.
How much does that leave me in capital?
500.
It's more than that.
More than that.
If we do everything on our capital list, say we buy the first thing on the hospital's list, that top thing. I'm just saying, we still have to decide. We do everything on our capital list, buy the first thing on the hospital's list.
It's the
They're
second to
still-
last page is the correct number.
They're still over, it's still be over $1 million.
Lifting capital?
Yes,
Yeah, she's absolutely correct.
yeah.
So that sounds like an easy,
I've been working, y'all.
You sure have.
We've been talking lately.
Yep,
Yeah.
sounds like an easy decision.
How y'all feel about
Okay.
that?
yep.
I like it.
And with this, this surplus that we're gonna have,
You say all the things,
We have a capital,
everything on the list?
but yeah, but we're not doing everything on the list, but if we do
Okay.
everything on that list, and except for the,
Right, we had to plan for everything on the list because
Yeah.
the council had not decided
Decided.
Right.
everything, so we have to plan.
But I was just saying, when she said everything, that's a
Yeah.
lot of stuff on this list.
yeah, it is, we calculated, we added up, if we do everything on that capital list, I'm not saying we're doing everything on the capital list, but I'm saying, if we do everything on that capital list, transfer the money out for option one for the hospital, we still have over $1 million in there. But we still have to prioritize, or
Yeah.
the mayor, he sent over, a list, we still have to decide what we are gonna do.
And again, you have the two options for the hospital. You can take it out of the general fund, which is not a bad idea since you have $572,000. Then the city will only have 55 to get us through the year, 55,000. Or you can take it out of capital and transfer it, but your resolution is very specific. As soon as you agree to it on Tuesday, that we will transfer each year $1.28 million, to capital. So we would be transferring it only to take it out
The next year.
this year. So in fiscal year 25, you guys said to me, I want to transfer $1 million from capital, from the general to capital every year. Now you're saying.
And that was up
if
to
we
the,
want-
but that was up to the 4 million for, split over the 12 months with the new
That's correct.
resolution.
Right.
So those are the two options as far as Coosa Valley Medical is concerned on how we wanna pay for it.
And I have another suggestion too. So if we do it that way, if we transfer the money out of capital and we still have this surplus, now we can consider her. So we can consider everybody. We may not be able to give everybody what they asked for, but now we can spread the wealth. So how do y'all feel about
So
that?
when, I like it, so when, if we transfer the money from capital general, all right, say then we now have $1,055,000, okay? Are we still gonna have to, no, when we, say we transfer $1 million from capital to general, and we'll have $1.517. All right, we spend the stuff for the hospital, we do all that, are we still gonna have to take from that 1.5 and put that 1 million back into the capital?
We're not taking $1 million. We don't need to take $1
I'm
million.
just
But
hypothetical.
the answer to your question would be yes. As soon as you sign that resolution.
So that makes no sense as a wash. If we're taking something out, we're just gonna put it right back into capital. Unless we're taking more than that out. If we have to put $1 million back in capital, then why are we taking $1 million out in the first place?
For accounting purposes,
That long?
yes.
Okay.
In order to be legal and correct, we would have to do it one of the two ways. And that's
Just shows
some-
things moving.
so,
Lee, what was that?
Just shows things moving.
that's fine.
Shows things moving, actually.
Thank you, Lee, for the auditors, yeah.
so let's just make sure we're all on the same page. So with the surplus we have now, the 570, if we go with option A. If we go with option A, we'll have $572,667.50 left. If we transfer however much out of capital to help the hospital, it's gonna add to this amount, right?
That's correct, unless you didn't want to transfer
Yeah.
all of it, yes.
But I think if we just go ahead and transfer, whatever we're gonna do for the hospital, we need to transfer that out of capital.
Correct.
And then we need to consider safe with the surplus. That's,
Sounds good.
I mean, because, and I think that's a good idea. I don't know
Yeah,
how,
I like it.
Laura, what are you thinking?
I like it.
Repeat that one more time, please.
So we transfer, let's do this. Let's pick what we're gonna do for the hospital. Let's do that before we go to,
Let's not do the highest thing.
well, I'd rather put it in the
The
vote.
hospital had 4 options. Option 1 was the Siemens Nuclear Medicine camera for $520,755.
And that would be a revenue generator, which would further help.
And that would be option
Do
1.
you know how much revenue that will bring, Lee?
I don't know how many people, because people are not gonna have to send to Birmingham.
But this is what I think now. If we do that one, Glenn's sister, maybe somewhere shunning me. I don't think we should do anything else. Like, if we do that one, I think that's a really good contribution, and it's gonna put them in a spot to where they can generate some income.
So we're done for the year.
That's it. That's all I think we should do. We should transfer that money out of capital for the imaging machine,
And then address ours with the 572.
and I'm thinking. we
No, it
should
was
get-
627.
No, do we wanna put a vote to have, what?
We kinda need to figure that out first, which
Alright.
option we're going with.
Alright, so,
The second you want me to read the second option for the council?
yeah, we can.
No, I mean like the first, what we first addressed, the
So,
560.
let's do this first. So let's do this, so.
Informally,
Yeah, informally.
yeah, A or B.
So everybody knows what option A is, we know what option B is. Option A is only cutting the appropriation, not the appropriation of the departments. Option B is cutting the departments and the appropriations.
I say
I say
Hey,
A,
sorry, guys.
A, sorry. It's,
Ashton, Nix, Perryman,
A. Well, we're not voting.
oh, I know.
yeah.
that's
But
not an official vote, that is not to be recorded to dispatch.
No.
Yeah, so,
I'm trying to save money. And y'all trying to not save as much. I mean, y'all killing me.
I'm trying to balance it. I'm trying to
understand.
balance and take care of everybody. So, and this is what I'm gonna propose to, can y'all hear me? Are y'all listening? I feel like-
Yes,
Now, I
ma'am.
do have one question about the fire department, other equipment, what is that cut? I meant to ask that earlier.
My paper out.
I think that's what the mayor was referring to. Is
$3,000?
that what- Yeah.
That'd be a neat
Hey.
question.
He probably.
Other equipment for the fire department?
Is that other equipment repair and maintenance?
45005 is just other equipment.
And I got we got our books up here too, Nate, you wanna come? We got our packets up here.
It's on here, ain't it?
Yeah. But look, let me, well, I'll wait till we.
That's repair and maintenance, other equipment repair and maintenance.
Okay.
So if we have a piece
Okay.
of equipment that breaks to get, that's money we use to fix it.
So,
We
Also
have,
got-
we have some things that we don't come out of that every year, and then of course we have things that we don't expect.
okay,
And he also has funding billed to in for contingencies. We cut that contingency as well.
Does that answer your question, Laura?
Yes, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't anything that was gonna hurt the department.
okay, so, and, I'm sorry, Nate.
If we have an air pack that breaks and I have to send it out to get fixed, that's what that comes out of. So if I don't have anything for, any contingency money for things that break unexpectedly
Did you
throughout
say
the
there was
year,
some, did you say there was some money in there for contingency?
There was, and we took it.
Okay.
Because in order to fund the appropriations and everybody else, cuts have to be made somewhere. And everybody agreed.
Well, let's give Nate those $3,000 back. How often do those things break, Nate?
I mean,
For the regular-
we have things that we have to fix regularly.
Alright.
$3,000?
Yeah.
$3,000.
Yeah. So that puts us at 20 for the PD,
No, the fire department.
I mean, fire department.
I'd like to give $80,000 back to the PD.
Oh, what, that's double. Come on, Nate, we gotta get through this.
Okay, I'm
We gonna
good.
spend the
I'm
night
done.
here. Okay, this is what I propose, and everybody can say how they feel. So now we have, $569,667.50, right? That's our new total, our new,
Unless there's another department that would like to discuss theirs.
oh. Anybody else?
Ryan wants to say something. I think it's got to do with CDA and ours together, maybe.
I'm not done though.
Oh, I'm
I mean,
sorry.
I'm talking about for the regular departments. You got something, Jane?
I do at some point, Stephanie and I have something to talk to you when the time is appropriate.
Okay.
Items, thank you.
So this is what I was gonna say. So I was calculating our new total. Was I right? $569,667.50.
That's correct.
So now, we have $500,000. What do you guys, cause we don't have $1 million. We don't have $1 million. So where you, I know what I have in my head, I just wanna see what everybody else says.
Would you like me to read the other options for the hospital? Is that where we were at?
No, it's just talking about Earth. It's like,
Or,
Oh, I thought we were fit. deciding what we were gonna do for the hospital before we could figure
I
out.
thought we had decided.
Yeah.
I thought we had decided.
Yeah,
They
I thought
won't
that
have a
was.
plan.
Oh, I must have missed that, I apologize.
They gonna
Did
go
you,
with first.
did you hear what he said? Say it again.
I didn't hear him.
They.
Oh, yes.
I'm just looking at numbers, I'm sorry, y'all forgive me,
That's okay.
A question for Earth. Since we don't have a full million right now, if we pledged it, could we do it over 2 years, or you have to have it like now?
What we would need at this point, and let me start by saying, I don't know that I understand everything that has gone on, but if you are planning to fund Earth by cutting departments and other entities in this city, that isn't acceptable for us. We don't want to hurt others just to fund Earth.
Ms. Margaret, that's the only way we can find it, baby.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't know what your reserves are, I don't know, when your CDs mature, I don't know any of that, I don't know your business along those lines, but I just tell you, we would not feel comfortable accepting money when other departments of this city are cut.
But these cuts are not like normal cuts. They underspent last year, and this is just putting them closer to what they spent, which looks like a cut, but it's just not as much of an
I
increase.
know, but they're counting on it.
They turned in $1 billion.
I'm just saying, that's.
And I appreciate
that's our
you
perspective.
having the best interest of the city at heart. I really appreciate that.
But also, if they really need it, they can come back and argue, and we can look for it. If it's an emergency, we can figure out a way to fund it.
But either way, Ms. Margaret, though, I mean, we do think it's an awesome program, and we do, wanna be a part of it.
And I
consider it, but we
deeply
don't-
appreciate
we don't
that,
have
but I
the
just,
money.
I feel as though I needed to publicly say that is not the intent of Earth, that is not how we would want Earth to begin its journey with the city of Sylacauga. That's our feeling.
But what can we do to preserve your funding, which was conditioned on our promise to assist?
Well, if we had in writing a promise of the $1 million over the course of the next 2 years, then we could use that to leverage the new market tax credits.
So we could look at mid-year and see what we can afford.
That's what you need to let you get that money.
Yeah, the November deadline is when we would need the commitment, the official commitment on behalf of the city.
Did you say November, Ms. Margaret?
Mhm.
I think so.
Ms. Morgan, another kind of side note, with the letters that, when I was president, signed over in support of the Earth Project and all, there was the 2 letters that I signed, I don't know if you have a third, but they didn't have a number attached to it.
There was a letter that you gave to Representative Robbins that did have that.
Yeah,
And it was
one of
based
them
on
was to me.
Yeah, it was based on the revenue generated, if the tax increase, it was based
I
on.
was just
that.
making sure, because I remember signing them.
I don't have the letter, I never had the letter.
Ben's
I
supposed
saw
to be
it.
getting
I
a
got
copy.
it.
Let me ask this, Ms. Mark,
Yeah.
because remember at the last meeting, we talked about us just sitting down and just having another
Yeah.
conversation about some sort of, what the city, what the city's investment will look like. So would it be okay for us, because we do have to pass our budget, and since we are gonna have a surplus, can we just have another meeting outside of this before, November? Let's get together over the next couple of weeks and let's, see what we can work out.
That sounds great.
Okay.
And I wasn't downing anything, I looked kind of silly last meeting, I was like, I don't remember it, but I do
Well,
remember the letters.
you and Ben met about that,
Mhm.
and so, I saw the letter, but Ben took that to the state finance
Right.
director, and that's where it says, I don't have a copy of the letter, I did see the letter.
I saw and Ben is supposed to be getting a copy
Well,
of
that's
it.
okay. Well, Ms. Martin, do you see how hard we are working, and you see that we are committed to helping
I
you
do,
guys?
and I want you all to know that we're committed to this city too.
And we appreciate that. So I think it's just gonna take another meeting for us to sit
Okay.
down and see how we can, develop that partnership with Earth. and the
Sure,
city.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
And nobody take me the wrong way, please. Can I ask why we are not taking Plan B just because we're not? Can I, is that, and if that's not a valid question,
No,
you don't
it's-
think that,
it's- it's
you
a
tell
val-
me and I'll
no, it's
hush
a-
because.
Those are relatively
Hold on.
large amounts for those organizations.
Yeah.
Then what,
It's
let's-
based off the percentage of total monies that they receive, it's a much larger cut.
Well, that's
And
what-
some of the cuts are one time, they only need it or need it this year,
And that's why.
that we would be cutting.
So hold on, you don't understand that?
Yeah, I get it, it just, it doesn't make sense to me, if you're gonna cut, let's cut. If we're not, then that's not, because
So,
we're trying,
let
in
me
my,
ask-
in my mind, and this is my little mind, okay? You've got a plan, you can have $572,000 in, or you can have $627,000.
Okay, well, let me ask you this, and hear me out. So in the plan where we're gonna have $672,000 in, these people or departments or things that we're responsible for are just gonna come back and ask us for this money during the year.
And if we have it, then we can say,
But,
here.
but it's here now.
I understand.
That's why we're trying to, plan ahead and go ahead and take care of the things that we can take care of. But keep in mind too, our departments, they aren't gonna say. And I know
That's true.
it looks a certain way right now, but neither one of you or us or even
And
the
we've
department.
always given them what
No
they needed
department
to
head
work
can get up and say
in
that they
consequence.
operated without.
Yeah,
Nobody
that's
can
right.
say that. I think we've been more than generous to everybody in the city. We really have.
I was just, that was eating at me and I had to ask.
Yeah, but that's why, but just keep in mind, the airport, the CDA, the Coosa Valley Rescue Squad, we all decided that this was important. All these things are things that belong to the city and we have a responsibility to them. And I don't wanna do it, I don't wanna do the work, I don't want them to quit and then I have to do it, I don't need another responsibility. So are we, what else, do we have the capital, go ahead.
I have a question on the camera for the hospital. Are we going to do reimbursable like we did for the?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
For,
And then, it was my understanding at the last meeting, we were also doing reimbursable for Coosa Valley.
yes, and
Okay.
also.
I just
for
wanted to make
the-
sure.
And also for the,
The rescue squad, I apologize, the rescue squad.
and for, the CDA too,
Yeah.
for that,
yes.
35,000.
And we were sent a contract, but.
I got a question about the hospital. Is that for the equipment only and not their training to use the equipment? Because I know that became an issue last time.
According to, the email we got from Glenn Sisk on August 13th, which I believe the council received, it says includes 25,000 for construction modification to
Yeah, it was
existing
in
space.
parentheses.
Okay.
So that includes that as well.
And then too, we can go ahead and see when we can get that meeting scheduled with Earth, so we can go ahead and have that.
Yeah,
once
she's
we
good.
get-
Miss Margaret, you got your calendar with you?
Yeah.
Good.
Got one out. So when,
I think y'all gonna get together after the meeting.
today?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so we can go ahead and just get it scheduled.
Okay.
Or we can also contact you too, so, cause we don't wanna make you sit through this if we don't want.
Isaac's kind of handles all of.
And I think I saved your cell phone number too, Isaac, you have mine, just text me, Tiffany, this is Isaac, just to make sure, but I think I saved it the last time.
And I emailed this morning to see if there was a time y'all wanted to meet before this meeting. So, we're on the email stream. And Isaac's on that.
One other question on Coosa Valley, is the money coming from the 572, or is it coming from capital, or is the council going to split? That's the question.
We're gonna, in order to consider Earth, we're gonna have to do it the way we discussed. It's gonna have to come from capital,
All right,
so we can consider Earth.
okay, that's what it is.
Also, do we have the, capital list?
We do, it's the second to last page and the last page. And as the city council requested, the mayor did prioritize.
Is this new?
This is the, I
New
sent-
prioritization.
This is the new prioritization, which I sent out yesterday, after the council.
The next to last report?
Last two pages.
I'm sorry, last 3 pages.
Oh, I'm sorry, y'all.
So the only thing, the immediate thing that sticks out to me is the $25,000 for the city website and app. I mean, is that at least we can implement or try to change the current one we have, am I not thinking right?
I'm trying to find out where you at.
He's number 6 on the
Thank you.
capital improvement reserve fund list, sir.
25,000.
What is
It would
this?
cost a lot more than that.
Developing a website and mobile app.
That would be E&L, who requested that.
Cassie, $25,000?
And I'm not arguing it costs that, it probably costs more, like Lee said, but I'm just saying, why is it so high up on the roll?
I don't understand that at all.
Hold on, where we at? I'm sorry.
Number 6, the city website.
City website. So with the city website, we put in at 25,000, it's more of a not to exceed amount. We've gotten 3 quotes, but of course the quotes are old at this point. Ranging anywhere from somewhere around 17,000 to 28,000, but again,
Can we,
we'll have to re-quote when we get to that point.
Cassie, can we move this one to the bottom once you guys get some hard numbers, and then, we can consider, is that okay?
I mean, I have previous quotes that are from June when we were collecting the budget, so.
I mean, it's we have somebody who's volunteering their time and assets to run the current city website we have. You know,
Our current website is horrible.
Well, that's what I was just saying, you know, we all, excuse us a minute, thank you. We all get, complaints about the city website, and I know, we all know Lee runs it, he does the best he can, and he gets bombarded, but see, our citizens.
But I will say this, it's updated, everything is updated, all
Sure.
the information that they need, it is updated.
Right, it just needs maybe some different modifications or something, I don't know, I mean, I'm fine either way, whatever y'all think we need to do, I mean, I'm good.
Let's just wait then, let's just give this one some more consideration, we don't wanna go down a rabbit hole with it tonight.
We would like to move number 6 down.
Yeah, let's just move number 6 down, can we agree to that?
Ashton?
Yes, absolutely.
Alright? And it's not going, like, we're not saying no, we're just gonna see what you guys got, put it in front of us, and then we'll consider all the documentation you have, okay? So number 7, computer upgrades.
We were originally asking, for all 33 computers, however, since the city is trying to get on a replacement plan, we only want to do 16 in fiscal year 25.
So we, how many did we just replace though?
We did 10, and those were from 2015 to 2018.
So what are you proposing now, what year, Mark?
19,
And
and
this,
that won't fill all the 19s.
so 33, would this be cut in half-ish, does 33,000 be cut in half-ish?
You know, we've already cut it in half. It used to be 66,000 because we were asking for 33 computers. Now we're asking for, 16, but the installation is $145 times 4 hours. And that's with our IT company, which is $40 cheaper than our previous IT company. And that'll get us on a schedule.
So how many, once we get on that schedule, so if we cut it in half, so you're gonna ask for us to buy 16, 17, 18 next year, right?
That's correct.
So it's, hold on, I should have asked this, so it's gonna be an annual schedule and not a 5-year schedule?
Well, right now in, 19, we have way more than 33 computers that need to be replaced. Or, I'm
So-
sorry, way more than 16.
So in 2 years, so say we do this in 2 years, 33 this year, 33 in 26, what's gonna happen in 27? Are we gonna get a break in 27?
We should ideally get a break because every computer will be 3 years.
And
less than
then,
3 years
and
old.
then you're proposing to put on a 3-year rotation,
5 years.
5-year?
Right, so we would eventually have to break some of these up. But the city did purchase large amounts of computers in 2019.
Guys, what is our opinion on how far down this list we're gonna go? I know you said we had money to do it all. Are we gonna do it all? Or if so, there's no argument about prioritization.
Yes, it is. There's no argument about prioritizing it, but just because it's on the list, it doesn't mean
Well,
we're.
that's what I'm getting at.
The
Are we
old
doing them
federal
all? How
bill,
far are we
no.
going
Yeah.
down?
No, we're gonna go all the way down, because because we moved that down, so that, what we talked about with Cassie, I think that just needs to go on another list, because we're gonna need some more information with that.
Yeah, I'm just saying that the plan is to do only 10, then we need to look at the top 10. If we're gonna do them all, we're gonna send some more this competition.
But, yes, it is, because if we buy all of them this year, we're never, the rotation, once we put them on rotation,
Well, I know
Yeah.
that, I'm just
it's
talking
time.
about the individual items, like, she's saying buy half and half, half this year, half next year, that's still staggering.
Yeah. I guess I don't understand what you're asking, Ashley. Is that my kid?
Well, like last
Will you
year,
just
we
take my
only
kid?
did like the top 5 things. You know, Tiffany, we only did the top 5 things. So if we're doing them all, why are we arguing about what
Thank
we're
you,
gonna do?
Living.
Am I not making sense?
I don't know. Let's,
Somebody help.
The old Food World building,
I don't think we should, I think that
I
should come
think
off.
that needs to come off too.
That building is worth more than that. And spending $650,000 to tear down something, we ought to give that money to somebody else
All
to
right,
market this
so
building.
let's take number 11 off the list. So we've already decided we're gonna do 1, 2, 3.
What are we doing putting a roof on Third Street? Are we not selling as is?
4, 5.
Do we have an interested buyer?
We have somebody that's gave a quote.
Hold on.
What we gave them.
Hold on, we skipped 2. Hold on.
Offer.
Y'all, hold on, we skipped 2. So
Sorry.
we're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're doing 7.
And I'm sorry, 4 and 5, are only if the grants go through. And if 5 doesn't, we would still like it for the 4th.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Number 8, square 9. What is this? More software?
Ms. Brown?
The notes in number 5, it should say 40K match required. Or is it, right?
Yes. And this, if they get the grant. So if they don't get the grant, how much would number 5 be? Still just 40,000?
You would still-
And that was rolling, wasn't it?
It should be 10,000 if the grant's received, right?
We've already applied for the grant for the thermal imaging cameras in this fiscal year. That, we're waiting to hear back on the grant, we've not heard yet. If we get the grant, the match has already been approved and
Oh,
allocated.
it says 4,000. That's what it
If we
says. It'll
don't
just be
get the
4,000.
grant this year, we need to buy the equipment outright anyway for the 40,000 cost.
One question, what do we consider, 40,000 or 4,000? What's in this total, 40 or 4?
If the
That's
grant,
gonna be up to the city council, and here's why. The grant was done this fiscal year. The grant has to be approved this fiscal year to use this year's money. Money.
So-
Next year, if the grant gets approved in fiscal year 25, the city council has to fund it in fiscal year 25.
So tell me again when you did the grant, Nate?
Well, we submitted the grant back in March, but
We haven't heard
we haven't heard
anything?
back on it from FEMA yet.
Okay, so we can still go ahead and approve this, and how long do you anticipate? So,
I mean, it used to be months and now it's
well,
a year.
well,
It's
how about we just approve the 40 and hope that it's only 4, because if we're gonna decide to buy it anyway, right?
I think
Y'all?
that's a good
It
idea.
would have to come back to the council anyway.
Okay.
Alright, but we still need to calculate it in this number, so we'll know where we are.
Hold the 40.
Alright, that's good, alright. Okay, hold on, so 7, we're doing 7, and what is number 8?
Square 9.
What's that?
Ms. Brown?
It's accounts payable
Nicole.
software, and it would work with Springbrook, but it is much needed. Our accounts payable is very hands-on. There's no automation to it. It's a very large job for one person to try and do, and this would just help them.
Let me ask this, Nicole, so did we consider anything else that's goes hand in hand, like this, kinda like, I don't wanna say price matching, and did you guys have like all the information on it so that we could, take a look at it, you can kind of explain to us what it is?
Absolutely, we have the information. I don't know if there is another software out in the market, that is comparable to Square at the moment.
So who would all use this software, y'all?
This would just be for our department.
Just for, that department? Is any other department using something that's similar to this, or is this something that we would need for the entire city?
It's just for accounting.
Right, this would actually benefit the city, because right now, we have that one person who has to email everybody continuously asking, can you please receive these items? Did you get the receipt? Did you get these items? This software would actually do that for us. until they receive it. So we're not the ones having to do it all the time.
So what about, okay, so the 14,500, is this for implementation and everything, or is this for the entire software, or, I mean, is it just for software, does it include implementation? I mean, is there a monthly charge after the 14,500?
That is the entire cost for the.
And it's a one-time cost, and it's something that you guys get?
It would be a yearly cost, that is the entire cost for fiscal year 25.
So it's an annual, it's every year?
Yes.
How much do we spend on Springbrook a year?
Springbrook is 40,000 a year.
But here's that, this is gonna make your job a little easier and less complicated, correct?
Yeah.
But I'm only asking because we're buying a software to be compatible with another software.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
now we're gonna be spending, 54,000, right?
Right.
So is
It
there,
would be an addition.
so is there something out there that we could get that's at a lower cost and it would take the place of this in Springbrook?
There are not very many cities that still use Springbrook.
Yeah, but you see, do you understand what I'm asking?
I do.
So can we explore that option? Or is this just,
That's what the council wants.
I'm asking, I don't know, I don't do what y'all
Well,
do.
I got a question,
Just
is,
to put the chart of accounts, the general ledger, all of that into our software and get it up and running would be a huge.
Because Alex, you know, you just said there aren't many, cities or municipalities that use Springbrook. We don't wanna buy this and then in a couple of years, we don't wanna use Springbrook. Does that make sense?
It does.
So do you wanna explore something else before we consider this, or is this something that?
Is it a hard no if I say no?
I
If
mean-
it is, then we'll explore. I mean,
No,
No, I
truth be
mean,
told, I mean,
you have to tell me, I don't know what you
Right.
do, but I mean, we do wanna explore the best options. I mean, is Springbrook
So-
gonna still serve us in 5 to 10 years? We don't know.
UKG,
I don't know.
I mean, I agree with what Tiffany's saying, I'm following you, Tiffany.
I'm just asking.
Yeah.
no, I know, but right now, Miss Victoria over there, okay, to understand the process. So we do the purchase order. We purchase the items. Then Victoria has to email the departments and say, hey, did you get the item in yet? Sometimes she does that 2, 3, and 4 times before actually going to a department head, which should not happen.
Okay, but this isn't gonna replace
But why-
Victoria, right?
But it is not going to replace Victoria, but instead of Victoria tracking all of that and doing it every week with every department, the software is going to help her. Then, when the department sends the, and says, yes, we received the item, it will actually upload the invoice automatically, so Victoria's not having to do it.
So this has to do with like purchase orders and stuff as
Yes,
well?
it will rename the invoice, because right now, I have 2 people that have to go in, because you look at your accounts payable list, every invoice and backup documentation has to be scanned manually, then has to be relabeled and renamed annual, or, individually, then it has to go with the individual purchase order in Springbrook.
Okay.
This software would do all of that.
But this has never been a problem in the past, that's what I'm just trying to make sure I understand, now it's an issue.
I'm not,
Ma'am, it's not an issue, we're just trying to be more efficient.
Yeah,
That's all,
gotcha.
we're trying to streamline the processes.
And I get it.
Like other departments.
I just didn't want you guys to buy this and then, you know, we have to need some, you can go ahead, Nicole, need
I
something.
just wanted to add one thing, that as the city continues to grow and as accounts payable continues to grow, one option would be to purchase the software, the other option would be to hire another.
And that's what my next question was gonna be. So I don't have any questions.
and it'd be
There's
cheaper.
additional employees than what's normally been in there already though, isn't there?
We've been shorthanded.
Yeah, they've been
That's
shorthanded.
correct, Ms. Laura, but each person is assigned their own position. Shelby is doing payroll, and she's going to take over all the insurance and all that stuff from Sandy, but Sandy's been doing it for umpteen million years and not been able to do Sandy's job because of being short-staffed.
Well, this is great. So thank you guys for explaining this to us. I don't have an issue with it. We're
I'm
going to,
good.
do this one. Thanks for those explanations. Y'all
Can
know
I
that.
just ask you a question?
Sure.
Lee, did you have, I'm just asking for your input.
I think this is great, it's a known system, it interfaces with your system, it's not even, it's an irrelevant amount of money in the grand scheme of things.
Okay.
We're trying to replace it with something else.
Okay, and if anybody wants to come and get a demo, we'd be more than happy to show you. I
Okay.
didn't expect names to play.
So number 9, installation of rolling doors. We know this is for the, shop.
Shop.
Yeah, and it has already expressed he needed this. So number 10, 317 West Third Street roof. Now you have skipped down to this.
Yeah, my bad. Hey, what did that do? I remember we had it appraised, but I don't remember what the number was.
I
But
don't,
I know there's, yeah, that's right.
Don't, but, I'm worried though, but don't we still have a problem? with
yeah, we
Yes.
do.
equipment out?
But,
Yes.
so this
But,
needs to,
but they're working on that, getting it out. They finally got some things ironed out. Wynn's been talking to them. I
Yeah,
think Wynn
he's-
met with them last week, actually.
but until we do an inspection, until that's completely taken care of and we do an inspection of the entire building, I don't think we need to, move on this.
But, okay,
Yeah.
there is somebody in town that would like to purchase it, and I told him how to, do that, so, there you go. Yeah, so we're gonna take
I
25
think
off.
we need to take that off, yeah.
Give me 5 seconds.
You gotta go to the, bathroom.
No, surprisingly not. The value, the appraised value was 260.
We can just deduct the cost from the total before we sell it.
Okay, so we're gonna take this off then?
Now,
or-
I would like to bring something up. If you guys remove anything from this list, the budget or capital, as it's been removed, becomes 0. And you wanna add it later, it's a deficit.
We're
You
just
can
move-
delay it.
Yeah, we're delaying it.
Okay, so
So we didn't use our words right.
I just wanna
Gotcha.
make sure I'm understanding.
We're rolling it to the very bottom.
Thank you, sir.
That's why we have you.
Thank you. So bottom, got it.
Alright, so, 10 is on the bottom,
11.
11 is on the bottom.
Can we just remove it completely?
Yeah, but I think it's gonna mess up the total amount of the money.
Well,
So
we
just
we
we-
can remove the food we're building, as long as you guys don't do anything for a whole year.
let's just put it to the bottom.
Okay.
Alright, so furniture for A and F, 2 front desk and counter needs to be replaced, need 1 more desk, and we know about one of those desks.
Yeah, and look,
Yeah.
we've tried, I mean, at school, we've got some desks from the banks, and I came over and measured, and our desks won't fit over, they're too long and they're too wide, we can't even get them in the door, so.
Okay?
Do we
so-
have quotes on this though?
Yes, ma'am, we do.
Okay.
Is that what you supply us with, and the 3 quotes and the diagram, the drawings?
Yeah.
I did, yes, sir.
I think you gotta have this desk, I mean, it's a must.
Alright, so let's go to number 13, vehicle, replace 2. Replace 2,000.
This poor woman sitting over here needing a kennel tech and we're.
It's a different pot of
But
money,
thi- yeah,
Jane.
this is a.
Yeah, a whole different pot of money, thank you.
Yeah, and also too,
Yeah,
and
thank
Jane,
you
it would be,
too.
but it would be nice if you would explain that to her so she doesn't feel like we're funding things that seem less important
She
than
needs
her.
some
cap-
help.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know she
not
needs some help, but we can't pay for it out of capital, and you should know how that works, so.
I do know how that
Yeah, if you would be so
works.
kind, just explain it to her so that she knows she's not being, left out. We do know what you need, Miss
Made
Nick.
upstairs, and we're talking about this.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Alright, so can we continue? Is that okay with
Lost in
everybody?
mind.
Alright. So number 13, vehicle, it says replace 2002 Explorer with a new vehicle or replace 2002 and 2007 with used vehicles. And Mike, I know we, talked about this and you and Ed were working on something one time about some vehicles.
Yeah, but we discussed it, and until you have the money in hand, you can't go to the state and try to buy them, they
So-
don't hold them.
So where are we now? So you just probably just stopped looking after you didn't get to do those things
If you
and,
don't have money, there's no penalty.
so and you said this
And I
20.
will tell you that we have 2 vehicles, and we use them like an office, just like the police do when we're out. We usually, in good times, when everything's going right, pretty much all day. And one of them qualifies to legally put them in, they tag them right now.
I do think we need to, so let me ask Alex,
Might not joke tonight.
yeah, a lot of people do, but it's okay, we're just gonna
Oh,
stay
I
focused
would like to
and keep
add
working
one
down the
more thing.
list. Say what, Mike?
I am not beating on the police department tonight, but we carry people to jail in new cars. We go and meet them on $1 million projects, and cars we have to have towed back to the shop.
Okay, but you also don't do public safety if we wanna go down that,
Yeah, we
rabbit
wanna go
hole
there.
either, so, cause we wanna make sure the police show up when people call them, we wanna make sure
You're
they can
spending
get.
the revenue for all
Yeah.
these people that's building things to make you happy.
Well, thank you so much for paying for those police cars, we appreciate
You
it.
the man.
I mean, guys, I mean, I know I really wish we could get out of that. I really wish we could, and I wish everybody could just do their part, because everybody's appreciated. I mean, everybody's needed, but everybody has a part to play. I mean, I say this all the time, everybody's the same but different. So, hopefully we can just realize that and just do the things we need to
Roll
do.
13.
So with the vehicle, Mike, so 44,000 is for either a new car or either 2 used cars?
Either replace one or try to find 2 used decent ones.
So how about guys, how do you feel about him going to find a used car and then we just see what that price is and try to get another used car for that department? Because
Just
one of
say
them.
do the 44, he can do any of the 3.
Yeah,
But we don't need to.
Up to
up to 44, yeah.
We don't have enough people in the department to buy 2. We
We
don't
got
need 3
Wayne and
cars.
Harmony
Or
and.
one new one, or you can buy 2 decent ones, but he
Mike.
has to have the money in hand to do it.
I know it, but what I'm saying is,
You got Harmony going on jobs, Wayne going on jobs, Mike going out on jobs.
so are we
I'm
just
not
gonna do the
asking for
44?
3 vehicles, we're gonna get rid of the 2 we got if we get the 2 used ones.
So they're
We're
gonna replace them.
one
Yeah.
and rotate one out.
Okay, so, but still, even if you give the money, you still have to say what you wanna do with it. So are you gonna give him the option to do either, or are we gonna say give the 44 to buy 2 used cars?
I'm for the 2 used,
That,
you know.
so
I'm
does that
trying-
make sense?
If you find it for that amount,
Alright,
maybe
So-
we should change that amount though, because I don't know, I mean, I don't know what the.
Ed, what
price
you
is.
think?
based on what they looked at the last time, that's where this amount came from, based on what they found the last time.
I'm asking.
But how much, Ed, I guess is the question for 2 vehicles?
2 used ones.
44,000 get 2 used vehicles, or do we need to increase it or lower it?
I don't think we need to consider that until we actually find some vehicles. So what's on the list right now, this is the only thing that we need
They
to
won't hold
consider.
the
You
vehicles.
cannot find them if you don't have the money to issue the PO.
There's $44,000 here to be
We learned that
considered.
with the
That's-
police
that's what
department
we're-
truck.
But you can't come back to the council, ask Ed, let Ed explain it, he explains it better than me.
You have to buy them on the spot.
Yeah, remember the police department truck debacle?
If you're gonna do.
I understand, this is what I'm saying, you also can't go, I mean, if we're saying we're giving you $44,000, then you have to find 2 cars for $44,000, right? That's right.
Let
I
Ed
got a
talk.
question for you. I got a question. We work together, we go to surplus warehouse, purchase 2 vehicles. If we commit to the vehicles, it is more than $44,000. We only have 3 days to get payment on it.
And I'm gonna sound mean for saying this because of some other comments that were made in the audience, then you can't commit if you don't have enough money.
You ain't got
And
no 44
I'm
to
not
play
trying to
with.
be mean, so.
You said we got 44,000 to play with.
44,000.
That's all you
But,
got?
and this is another thing too, keep in mind, you guys are the ones that put this in the budget, you came up with this, it says replace 2002 Explorer with new vehicle or replace 2002 and 2007 with used vehicles. I didn't put this here, I'm just saying what's here,
That's right.
does that make, so,
I guess.
You got $22,000 to play with for both vehicles.
is that what we're doing?
Is
Y'all
that
always make
feasible
me
though?
out-
No,
you
No,
sound
is that
rude.
feasible though,
Exactly right.
Ed? 22,000, is that gonna,
If you're gonna do $44,000, why can't we use it at our own discretion?
As is, either 2 used or 1 new.
Yeah.
$44,000, correct?
I don't have a
So,
problem.
if we got $44,000, what we'll work with.
Buy up to 2 cars.
yeah, buy up to 2
That's-
cars.
That's what,
That's what Tiffany been saying for the last.
But if they find one, you know, for,
A newer one.
okay,
neighbor
alright,
one.
so we're gonna go with the 44,000, okay? Thank you.
Let's
David.
go to 14.
Thank you, David. Alright, but remember, these, you know, you can't argue with requests when we don't write the request, we only consider requests. So, for 2024-2025 Ford F-150, $310, approximate amounts due to quotes expiring. This is.
This is, this is,
This is police department.
I got that, thank you. We don't get these at the same sale we got the other ones, didn't
Could be.
we? I noticed.
is this outfitting them and all, like, is this everything? Okay,
Out the door, everything ready to roll.
okay, so
With-
that'd be
with-
around
With the super
70.
duper battery saver. built in.
Sorry?
With the super duper battery saver built in.
Activate.
Okay, so 77.5 per truck.
So how close are we how close are we to take home cars?
These four should get us there.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
But when you
good.
say get us there, how many people will be without a car then?
There will be a couple of rookies, but they gotta put their time in.
Pay your dues.
That being said, Mr. Ford just made my ears ring today, cause I gotta buy a transmission for $2,500 for a spare car. My bad. So, like, the fire chief said, stuff breaks, you gotta do something with it.
So are we gonna consider all four of these? Do we wanna
I
do
think we
half?
do.
Cause I know how many we just bought?
You bought a total of 5.
5?
They come out of your earmark money.
That's correct.
And they are replacing vehicles,
Yes, sir. Well, not replacing, I'm passing on.
so we would keep using the old vehicles, so they're a new fleet.
And this is also a
Are
recruiting
we
tool.
still in lease contracts with any of the Explorers? We own all of them outright?
You own everything out there. Y'all own everything.
We need to start selling some of them.
So do we need to,
The Explorers are
would
off.
it make sense to lease these? Or no, just buy them?
Yeah, we don't wanna lease.
Yep.
Alright, so we're doing this?
Yes, I think we need to, because that take-home car program is going to be a huge incentive to recruit and retain.
So with the
employees.
more F-150s we get, are they gonna be turned into cages in the back and like patrol-esque type of cars?
Every vehicle that you bought for patrol will be set up the same way. There will be no more admin or patrol or whatever.
But these F-150s will be patrol?
That's correct.
Okay.
Everything you buy from now on goes to patrol.
Alright,
And you budgeted gas for F-150s.
Actually, I filled one up on August 29th, and I just filled that same one back up 2 days ago.
Good.
alright, so kennel repair, we know.
I'm sorry, I have a question on vehicles. Sorry, Nate, I just wanna clear it, is he asking for F-150s or Explorers or a combination so that,
To me, it
We
says
know now.
4 F-150s, I think it's spelled out.
4 F-150.
Okay.
And this is outfitting and all, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, alright, number 15, animal shelter, kennel repair. Alright. And you said you already provided these quotes, Miss Stephanie?
Yeah, I've got 3 quotes. My clerk Lambert has, so they range anywhere from 17 to 25,000. It is for the back part of the kennel. Right now, it's held together with pieces of fencing that are zip tied to reinforce areas. There's a couple ACO kennels back there that are so, I don't know, they're such bad shape that the girls literally use dog collars or leashes, and they have to tie the gates and stuff together. They're shot. They've got like grills, anything metal, stove racks. I mean, they've got all that stuff zip tied to try to reinforce it all the way around. And so it's really a nightmare because we get dogs that are loose all the time, so it becomes a safety issue. And we spend probably an hour and a half a day trying to chase down dogs that break out, but they need to get out, so they don't get
I
out.
think
Kennel service.
we need to do this.
Alright, sounds good, alright. So number 16, phase 2 of fire station remodels. Nate's gonna say, I say this every single time. I always think we already did this. Like,
So we included some of the funding for this in with the bond proceeds, but that number that was included was based off of quotes from 2.5 or 3 years ago. So the prices had gone up and it wasn't adjusted for that, so I did get it updated. Again, we didn't go through the process of getting 3 quotes for this yet because we didn't know how we were gonna fund it, where we were going with it, but I got 8 quotes for us to work off of, and this is the difference between.
Where's my bond payment? Where's my bond?
yeah, it's included in there.
Between what was included in the bond and the difference.
But I thought, Tim, tell me this, I thought it went up 80 or 90,000. So it says 110, and I may have been looking at this ladder truck. That's probably what I was looking
280
at.
total, but 175 was included in the bond.
So tell me,
This is switching from what we did to 1 and 2, we're doing the opposites.
Right.
and we'll be done,
Yes,
and I won't have to ask, I thought we
Yes.
did this.
yes.
Alright,
So that's 172 plus 110 in remodel?
so
285.
285 total.
Yep.
Which is a little contingency in that. My quote was 280,
And how long we been trying to do this, Nate?
3 years, since we first started talking about it.
Okay, any questions on that? I'm good. Hello?
No, I'm good with it.
Nate?
Sounds like you made your mind up.
I mean, but you still.
Yeah, look, if that's what y'all wanna do, then that's fine, I just know that,
What you say is still important. It doesn't matter what the rest of us think or say. You're,
I think that, it's very important because they're there most of the time, they live there.
don't talk about what you say, your words, your thoughts are important. They
Are
are.
you done? Can I go? I love you, can I go? We've got we've borrowed $36 million and 172 of that's for his, remodel. Were the ones, how far were the 172 told you, Nate?
I mean,
Until we get halfway through the year, maybe revisit it to finish it up.
I'd have to, I don't have an answer for that tonight, I'd have to sit down and look
And
at
to
it,
be,
break it all down.
and to be honest, Nate, we've been going in this circle for 3 years. I'm ready to get it over with.
Well, let's do it, let's go to the next one.
So, we've been doing this for 3 years.
I have a question on this next one too.
Completion of ladder truck refurb.
So this was the continuation of the emergency that we had mid-year, or past mid-year, which we're still waiting on all the parts to come in, because, you know, that's how those things work, and some of them have to be specially manufactured and all that kind of stuff. So we did half of the refurb, everything for the aerial portion of the ladder truck. This is rebuilding the valves and the pump, replacing gauges on the pump.
I thought we just did this.
No, y'all voted not to do this.
Yeah,
Y'all
we
voted to
voted
only
against
do what we absolutely had to do, not what's gonna carry us through the next.
That's right, that's right.
This is the other half.
So let me ask, so this truck, like, we're spending all this money, so we're gonna use this truck for a long time, right?
Correct,
And
100%.
what about the other truck we just bought? How's that going? How is it doing?
It's in process.
Okay.
So, coming along,
Now, does this fix all the electrical issues as well?
yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
alright, number 18, it says F-250 equipped. Fire inspector for first year, rolled down as support truck to help get on light duty vehicle fleet management cycle will replace 1995 and 2005 pickup truck at that time. Estimate includes minimal outfitting.
Just another light duty vehicle to help replace some of our vehicles that when we pull out on the road, we don't know if they're gonna make it up the hill or not.
Same as the F-250 general spec, same as the F-250 guy.
It won't be quite as heavily outfitted as that one, because again, you know, kind of like we talked about, every vehicle kind of has its own purpose and is outfitted for a specific person, so, or purpose.
Are
So
these,
it'll be.
is this diesel?
No, it'll be just like the one we've got, so that way we're consolidating our drivetrains to F-250s and Ford Expeditions, and we don't have any variation.
Nate, my note says $70,000 for a fire inspector for the first year. Rolled down as a support truck to help get on light duty vehicle fleet management. Explain. Why the fire inspector needs a $70,000 vehicle?
So, we're applying for a grant this year for a brush truck. Our current brush truck's a 1994 F-250. If we don't get that grant that hopefully we're gonna apply for this year, then we've gotta have another vehicle to be able to roll down to replace that before it completely breaks on us. So there's a few avenues this truck can go down, but one way or the other is helping to replace an outdated fleet that nobody has been planning for 20 years.
Does the fire inspector respond to fires? He's still he still does all that stuff?
Yeah.
So let me ask this, and this may be a crazy question. Can the fire inspector get another car and this car be placed somewhere else? I kinda see what Nate's saying. Because what's gonna be outfitted inside of this truck? What is this truck gonna be like on the inside? Cause I know like the truck.
So he has to, you know, and some of this rolls back to the conversation y'all had at the last board session about the assistant chief, because the Tahoe that the fire inspector is using now, if we get an assistant chief, you know, would have to roll to that position eventually, and he would need a pickup truck, but he needs a pickup truck anyway, because he has to carry things like evidence collection cans for fire investigations, you know, shovels and rakes and that kind of stuff to help collect fire evidence. So there's a lot more to it, and he needs more space than what's in the back of that Tahoe right now.
I'm not saying he probably don't, Nate, but I don't know if I can get on board with 70,000 right now.
I think it's
I'm happy.
needed.
I'm not saying you don't need it, but.
That's the state bid price for the truck, plus, you know, plus a little bit for, you know, lighting and siren and, you know, that kind of stuff.
All right, what do your council think?
So,
I mean, just to point out that I'm kind of in line here, you know, the police department's asking for 4 trucks for 310,000. So take 310 divided by 4.
Nate, let's not.
No, I was thinking about that.
No.
But let's not.
All I'm saying is my pricing is fairly in line with their pricing per vehicle. That's all I'm saying.
Let's use somebody else. Let's compare to,
The money I'm asking for a vehicle is about the same as what they're asking per vehicle.
Wait, there's our F-150s. Why is theirs 77.5 versus this being an F-250
Well,
at 70?
okay, it's okay. I think we're gonna go with it. We're not gonna go down that road. So it's circled on my list.
We're getting it.
We're getting
Let's
it.
go.
We're not, yeah. All right, so is that it?
What was the decision?
Yes. And there's, tractor with boom,
That was already purchased with earmarked money from the street department,
And then
IT
the-
funded.
and then the telestaff thing. So let me ask, so this $1,587,110.32.
I'm sorry, can we go back to Telestaff?
Yes.
I know it was removed by the fire department. But I met with, E&L and the mayor, and there was concerns about the agreement that the council is getting ready to approve at the next council meeting. Speaking with E&L and UKG, we're not sure if it's compatible, and I guess that's an issue, because if we spend 10,000, it's not compatible.
Is there a way to figure that out before the next meeting, Nate?
For
Yeah,
what
why
now?
wouldn't they?
Yeah, the uses of the software are not one and the same. The question mark was, did we need telestaff to help bridge the gap between the two? And that was the question, and I don't know the answer to that yet, so that was the conversation of hold off on the telestaff, but.
So can you guys just get together and make sure we have all those answers before we vote on it? Is that,
We have to have the software regardless.
oh, okay.
But if it's not compatible to UKG,
That software does way more than that. This is not replacing UKG, and it does not have to tie in with UKG, it would just be nice if it did. But I don't have those answers yet, and that's not a high priority.
Were you not, so y'all didn't have a meeting all together, it was just, okay, I want to make sure I understood that,
He
because I know
wasn't
there,
at work that day.
okay.
All right, but could you just still get that answer just so we would know? It would be nice to know. I mean, cause I just wanna know now.
Yeah.
Since it's up there.
Yeah, I can ask.
All right.
See if there's-
And can you, when you're, providing that, can you provide a spec for the truck? The F-250? Like what it includes?
Yeah,
Doesn't it have a list, like sticker list, you know?
I'll work on it.
And this, and again too, Nate, this F-250, you said it's gonna replace 2 cars, so you're gonna retire 2 cars?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what this says.
It may be 2 or 3 years before we do, but ultimately that is the plan, yes.
Okay, do we have Nicole, we got a total on everything we said yes to?
The total's gonna remain the same. If you deduct the total, that's all you're gonna be able to spend in FY '25.
What, it included this, no, I'm saying, cause we didn't do the old Full World building, and then.
Correct, we agreed that we would move it to the bottom in the event something happens with that building. Otherwise,
And then the roof, we moved the roof to the bottom.
it needs to be moved to the bottom.
Yeah.
But we need to project to spend the money, but we're not.
I know it, but we still should have a total on the other stuff, or we could just subtract
It's
those.
still gonna be $1,587,110.30.
We're not removing.
We're just placing it on the bottom, which brings me to my questions. So I understand the council is okay with this list, not an issue, we have the funding, not an issue. However, rules need to be put in place. The 3 quotes have to be mandated, if it's over the certain threshold, we have to have quotes.
Yeah, and some of these
Correct.
they have them, but like
But for the
that,
people that do, are we
But
gonna
like-
ask them back to the council for formal approval? Because you're not approving the items, you're approving the budget.
so tell me what's on here that's gonna need them, 'cause I know Stephanie says she has hers,
But
the
who's
cars
making
are.
the decision? So I have 3 quotes for furniture. You're gonna let me make the decision as long as I'm under 25,000?
Oh, I get it, I understand.
Yeah, I think I
I
mean,
think that makes sense as long as you're under the threshold.
And then also if, hold on, I got.
But I mean, the warranties, hopefully they're making, well, maybe we need to make them, because hopefully they're making
Because we
some good
normally
decisions.
go to the lowest bid.
Yeah, and
I
that,
just don't want a gold-plated desk in my office because I'm under the 25,000 when I could have spent something a little less.
yeah, that makes sense too, and also, you know, depending on warranties or so on and so forth, we wanna make decisions based on those. So, is that something that we need to,
I think that, I mean, we have the right people in the right places to make those decisions. I think that's kind of micromanaging almost.
I would say we need to, because we run into a little bit of an issue a couple of months ago. We're approving
Yeah.
the number. We need
yeah,
to
we
make,
need to, yeah, let's just make sure, so we're approving the amounts, and let's just put the quotes in front of us.
that's right.
Yeah, and I see what
3
you're saying,
quotes.
Laura, but if it didn't have anything with do
But-
with money,
Because
but
there's also-
policy and procedure, then
Because there's
yeah, we
also
would leave it up to
concerns when you
them.
run
But
across
since-
contracts and agreements.
Right.
To make sure everybody understands that have to come before the council so we don't have any issues.
And also like, you know, for the police department, we need specs on that as well. We can't just ask one department to provide specs and not another.
I don't even know what a spec is, Ashton, actually. What's the
It's
spec?
Same
It
thing.
tells you exactly what the vehicle's gonna come with.
That's right.
The
Oh,
police
so
department-
itemized
Sticker at the
fleet.
dealership.
Yeah, I
One
think it's
run for
fair
all.
to have it across the board instead of just pointing out one department to provide stuff.
I thought Ashton was asking for his own personal reasons, he was in the market for a fire truck.
No,
You never
it's the way
know
the
with
economy
him.
is.
Ask Tip, I don't know.
What did you say?
One of the due offs was to discuss the take-home program for the city. That was on the list of the last.
Yes, and we talked about that at the last meeting, so you guys remember? Did you give us a, do we have a list? Cause no, the only list you had, it had names on it, so did you provide us with a list without names?
Yeah, because we asked.
That's what we
Well,
did.
that's what the issue was, we couldn't share your list because it had names on it.
So we need to probably do that the 17th then.
Yeah, let's do the 17th, but let's make sure we have a list with, just positions or departments and not names. So, but I think we're good for now with this capital list. And what was it we were waiting for? We were holding off on West Third Street building.
For the world.
Yeah,
So as of now, we have a balance or surplus budget.
yeah, surplus budget. And then we're gonna, we need to set a meeting up for safe with Earth.
And that would play into the budget.
Yes.
So we have to finalize that before the end of this month, so the end of the fiscal year, so because we have to have that
We
5-minute closeout.
yeah, but we can still finalize the budget and still have that meeting.
But we gotta know what we're giving them.
Yeah.
We need to go over the special funds, because I don't think the council's ever talked about it, it keeps getting delayed. Bond and interest reserve is your bond payment, $2,065,610.94.
Where's that,
It is after the transfer outs.
Were you making the next study, can I make one statement? Y'all had me looking at the AC for the shelter. That's been dealt with, except for one final item. The heaters have not. I didn't hear that brought up. I don't know, I don't wanna get into Stephanie's business, but I don't know that she knows what all's going on. You remember we discussed, and I was not messing with the heaters, and you're gonna need to put some money in for the heaters.
I think she's so tired, she forgot she was gonna be cold. So can we get quotes for that, by the next meeting, so we can, consider that, Stephanie, to make sure we get that heat taken care of before the weather changes?
Yeah,
You say yes?
yeah.
So we'll have it for the, we don't need it on the 17th. What is that Wednesday? We need it that Wednesday.
The Wednesday prior,
Yeah. We'll do-
today,
Today?
today is Wednesday. And we've already.
Well, just have it before, we'll make sure it's on there for discussion. And Stephanie, make sure you have it,
For the 30th?
yeah, no, for the 17th. We still gonna need it by the 17th. Because it may be, you think it's gonna be capital? You think it's gonna be that much?
It's gonna be 6 to 8.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, yeah. So just make sure you have it by the next meeting, Stephanie, if that's okay. Yes, ma'am, Ms. James.
Just because we're on Stephanie, the question I wanted to ask you earlier, let me first apologize to Alex. Alex, I didn't mean anything to you about your desk. I'm sorry if it came off like that. What I wanna talk about with Stephanie is, I know we talked about her needing another full-time person, and I know that we don't have the money. Is there any way we can look at making a commitment? I know you guys kinda tossed it around, but is there any way we can look at that at first quarter for her? Because she does desperately need to get that team flowing.
We can always look at it.
Yeah, I do think so, and thanks for bringing that back up to the, top of the list too as well, Jane. I know how hard Stephanie works out
She
there. and-
does, and she's doing a great job
Yeah,
with what she has.
yeah, we appreciate her and her team, and I couldn't imagine, I just couldn't imagine what you do. So you are appreciated.
Very
So-
much
I know I couldn't
appreciated.
do it, and I'm just thankful she can do
Yeah,
it.
so thanks for bringing that up, and we will make sure that, that is considered.
Thank you.
While we had Mike talking, he brought up a museum issue today. Is that anything we need to consider yet?
Yeah, Mike, the email you sent out about the museum.
You just need to consider it. I mean, I have no idea what it's, there are some contingency money left in that contract, not a whole lot. But when I went and looked at it, it looks, the architect representative that's been coming down here is on jury duty this week and part of next week, and he cannot come down. And I had suggested that we have one of their engineers come look at it, because this is not anything typical, and it's in a dangerous location.
Well, can we just get some numbers attached to it? Because we can say we're gonna consider it all day long, but until we attach a dollar amount, really can't.
First, you need to just authorize a modification to the architect's contract to do an additional fee for have an engineer look at the problem and make a recommendation. You can't get a price until you have a recommendation.
So, is that something you can get with Alex so we can get added to Tuesday, or does it need to be done before Tuesday?
It should be.
So can you get with Alex to make sure that that's added, the, wording is correct, so we can, take care of that at our next council meeting?
Well, the email pretty much covered it. She
Were
was
you,
in the
were you
email.
copied in that email?
I'm sure I was, but
I know, we've
we've
had a
been
lot.
focusing solely on the audit, this, and, everything else.
Mike, can you just make sure she gets that so we can go on the council meeting, go on the work session agenda, and it can be considered Tuesday?
With a recommendation to authorize a change to the.
Yeah, that's really all we're asking for at this point, to authorize the change for additional charges from the architect to look at it.
I know, but what I'm asking is, maybe just take that email you sent us and just forward it back over to Alex, or either just send that over to her so the warning.
Sure, no problem.
Thank you, Mike.
Man, can I say one thing? I was out of the room when the comment was made about specs for the police department.
It's okay, it's fine, we got it all taken care of, everybody's getting what they need, we're in a good place, and we're just fortunate enough to be able to take care of all the things on this list.
And I just wanted to say, I've always given an itemized list of everything that I purchased. The clerk's office can verify that through Springboard. You never had to ask me for specs.
Thank you
I
so
already
much.
have.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
But yeah, we're in a good place, y'all, we're very fortunate, so,
We
To be
ready
able-
continue with special funds?
yeah, to be able to take care of all these things for our department.
Yes, sir. So, building city hall maintenance, you guys approved, everything but the window washing with the understanding we would get a quote, we're still working on that. We would like you to consider leaving the $10,000 in there, and if we don't get a quote, or the council is not happy with the quote, we just don't spend it.
Yeah, and then too, like you said, we're approving the dollar amounts anyway, so the, quotes are gonna have to come back for us anyway for additional approval, so.
Yes, ma'am. And that should be all. And as a reminder, the museum is included in the bond payment.
Okay.
So how soon, not saying you gotta do it tonight, but how soon can you get us a re-up total? You know what I'm saying? No, no, just curious. Nicole's killing me with.
Okay, so are we good?
Oh, she has a question.
Go ahead.
Well, it's for you.
Oh.
So the items on the capital that were moved lower to the list, are they going to be included on the budget for capital?
Yes, but they will not.
But only two were completely removed from the budget.
Nope, they stay in the budget.
Yeah, and we just move them down,
Just
and that's what I,
The roof was.
You gotta remove the money.
I mean, the demolition of Food World was completely removed.
We can't remove it.
Okay.
I remember that, yeah.
but,
The money's there.
and that's why I was asking for a total of capital that we agreed to, but we really can't get a total because we're gonna have to have some quotes for a few things. But we still can get a total, it can be like an estimate. Do you have that number, Nicole? And all you have to do is just subtract just subtract two things, because we're not doing Food World, and we're not doing the roof, so that means.
We'll have that money to use. in
Yeah,
case
and
something else
actually,
comes up.
that's what I was trying.
Yeah. Sorry, you didn't mean to.
No, you're good, I think you're the person that knew what I was talking about.
I did.
So if we remove the Food World building
And the West Third Street roof.
and the West Third Street roof, it's gonna be $912,110.32.
Okay, and what's our new total? Because we talked about too, moving, the money for the hospital out of this, right? To put it in the general fund? Yeah, the transfer, okay. Alright, I just wanna make sure we still have enough money to do all these things we talked about.
So. So with the West Third building, if we take that building off.
We're not taking it off, we're just
Okay.
moving it to the bottom as you suggested.
Thanks. Okay.
Yeah, we're just moving everything to the bottom, but we still have to have
Before the end of the week, we'll have new numbers. for
okay,
you.
yeah, we still have to have a real number,
Yes.
because we did just agree to do some things.
Yes.
Alright, so are we, is that it? Okay, so
That's it.
are there any more questions as far as the budget, and did we get any questions submitted tonight? We didn't get any questions submitted tonight? I was excited. Oh, but I do wanna read something because we do have an update, so this is exciting. So, we've been working with, Philip Mars, our county commissioner, and I'm just gonna read this letter, and we are gonna post it on social media and, so on and so forth. So it says, Ashley, you wanna read it? Oh. It says for immediate release, September 11, 2024, public discussion on immigration laws and community concerns to be held in Sylacauga. On behalf of the mayor of the city of Sylacauga, the Sylacauga City Council, and the Talladega County Commission, 3 state legislators have been invited to speak to interested members of the public on Tuesday, September 24, 2024 at 6 p.m. It'll be hosted at our museum. Senator Keith Kelly, Senator Lance Bell, and Representative Ben Robbins will be present to share information and discuss the impact of current immigration laws and policies. The discussion will allow citizens to hear from lawmakers and voice any concerns. And I'm gonna put Lee on the spot because he volunteered to live stream it for us, Lee Perry.
Oh, wow.
So, that's it. So, that's the only thing I have. So thanks everybody for coming out. And we'll see you guys again soon. And Margaret, we're gonna meet with you so we can get that. Okay, sounds good. Thank you.